Hello again. My name is Artem Mykhailov. I represent the ISSP company. I'm based in Georgia for the last 3 years, so I'm doing business here. I'm helping my team to collaborate with local companies in information security. Just one slide about our company for those who are not acquainted with us. We're present on several markets, mostly in Western Europe, in Eastern Europe, I'm sorry. And what we do, we secure the businesses of our customers. We secure money, we secure processes, we secure the things which are vital for operation of the business, of the governments, of the public sector, and so on. Today I won't cover, some marketing or technologies or tools, maybe solutions. I will try also to continue the trail of presentations about the trends, about where we are going, where the security is going. Because personally, for me, I think that we live in very exciting time, and we observe the changes, and we never noticed these changes actually. But the world is completely different place from where it was a couple years ago. So there were a lot of words about the trends, about the Internet of Things. I'm sure you know this. I won't stop here for a long time. I just want to to point to one thing that we have used to call all these devices which we use smart, something which is connected, interconnected. Here is the statistics of connected devices to the World Wide Web through the years. The year of the transition from, if I'm not mistaken, from 12 to 13 was called by Cisco company the year of birth of Internet of Things, when the devices connected to the Internet exceeded the population of the Earth. Yep. So if we continue this trend, we can see that in a couple of years it will be enormous quantity of devices connected. So when we're talking about the security in real life, we don't have any conscience. We surely know that you need to use your seatbelt in a car. You need to have some security controls in the airport when you're flying somewhere. You don't, I don't know, you don't swim and get under the water for a very long time, because it could be dangerous. The same thing happening here, because the cybersecurity space, the cyberspace, is something which Mr. Irakli needs, thank you for this slide, where it's so essential for us right now, like water, like air, is something where we operate, yes? So let's move on. We have already seen similar slides. Thank you very much for Mr. Smith about the governments, yeah, like who are the sources of the attacks. Basically, there are 3 major types. It's criminals, activists, and governments. You know all about them. And personally, for me, I think governments are the most dangerous, because, well, their resources are nearly unlimited. But still, we're talking about business and public sector. We're talking about money loss, data loss. So criminals, this is a huge industry. This industry works, and it is efficient business, very efficient. Once again, I will refer to the previous presentations. I won't stop here. Just when you have your time browsing the web, I suggest you to visit, to take 5 minutes and visit the President Obama page or the White House page. It's clearly stated there that our future is dependent on the cyberspace, on the protection of cyberspace. So the Stuxnet, you know this topic pretty well. It's widespread information. I just will note that Stuxnet virus was like half of megabyte of length. I mean the photos on your iPhones are weighing a lot than the code, which actually hit more than 1,000 centrifuges of uranium enrichment. Well, you can imagine this, yes? So the fraud in financial systems, we use our smart wallets, we use all these transactions, and once again I won't stop. We have covered this topic last year on the JTI when we were presenting our experience in protecting banks and building anti-fraud systems. So the topic today, which I will try to cover in, let's say, 4 or 5 slides, it's the attitude of corporate organization to the cybersecurity, to security itself. So business always takes a decision about the comfort level of investments in cybersecurity, and management, it always reflects to the requests from the cybersecurity team, from cybersecurity professional, from the organization. Well, they try to rely on some basic things which can be distinguished easily, like regulations, compliance, like strategy, standards, risk analysis, and well, eventually they understand that they need to invest in security. But what the attitude comes after? Well, I think that most of organizations, according to my experience, the management thinks, well, okay, I need to invest in security, I will do this. But what shall I start with? Well, it's better to do something than not to do anything. Yeah? Let's try to invest and buy something which will help us to cover the security issues. But for businesses, the purchase should have some, I don't know, some material value. Yeah, we understand when we buy a hardware, it's a huge big server which protects our organization. We understand when we buy software, at least. But what about the part of the process? We know this pretty famous expression of Bruce Schneier that security is a process, it's not a product. I can add, it's not a result, it's not a state, it's a process. So we need to treat security like a process. We need to invest not in projects, but invest in the process. So it just doesn't work like this anymore. You can't just buy a lot of things which will protect you. You need to operate, manage them, and adjust them all the time. You need to provide additional tuning. You need to well, enrich it with the knowledge you have about your business, about your processes. So to develop the procedures, well, I mean the procedures according to the standards, how we need to operate an organization. It's just like you need a pen and some paper to write it, but you need to implement it and to work according to it, to use it. So without the understanding in depth of the process, of security process in the organization, we can't really understand what systems, what solutions, what tools, what standards we need to implement. So if we just try to, you know, take the easiest, the simplest process of information security cycle, it's like we have 2 stages. The reactive phase, when something happens, the fire occurs and we fight this fire, and the active phase when we, from time to time, we can spend our time for looking the online activity, for looking, you know, firewall logs or something like this, and we can react during this stage. Then it comes the understanding, when we get experience, that there are some things which we can prevent, and we need to tune the corresponding rules. We need to implement corresponding procedures. We need to do something. So we analyze our first 2 stages and add the 3rd one. But together with our partners, we had developed and conducted research, and the statistics which you see on this slide reflects this. We have taken the SIAM projects. I'm sure everybody knows what is SIAM. It's the core system of information security which analyzes everything and provides the opportunity to automate everything, every process, almost every process, information security. So among 65 companies where we sent them questionnaires, we were involved in the projects, so we know for sure. In US and Canada, organizations, they hire 10 people for operating only SIAM system. I'm sure that you know the situation in our region. In Ukraine, I can say it's like 2.5 in average for organization. I mean, it's very good. It's average and it's very good. But in Georgia, as I know, it's less than 2.5. So the main problem, what I mean here on this slide, is people. So we can buy a lot of solutions. We can spend thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in security. But if no one will operate with this, it just doesn't make sense. So Gartner, it actually repeats our statistics. Mostly, they about the CM, for example, the same solution class. They have shown that insufficient human resources. You're always lacking for the professional who know the process in depth. So when we talk about, for example, programming, IT, and we have the lack of resources, what we do usually? We use outsource. Outsource for some easy jobs, which could be easily and exactly determined in time. We know for sure the input and output from this service. Well, for example, I give some task to my programmer, and I know what I want, what the result which I want to get. He knows it also and provides me this result, that is why outsource is so popular and it's so efficient. Why don't we use the same for security? Well, let's just for a couple of minutes get rid of the ideas of privacy problems, of the problems of sending information about my organization somewhere. We'll get back to this. But the process is easy. It's pretty easy. You just need to know it. The process is well determined in time. You know for sure the procedures. You know for sure what needs to be done if incident occurred. You know for sure how to protect yourself. Or even you don't know. If you don't know this, you need to ask someone to help you. So. Actually, I have a lot of notes here, but I don't want to waste your time. The idea is what I'm presenting to you today is that the world is moving into this. You know from your experience, the clouds from Microsoft, from VMware, from all these companies, huge companies, from Google, Amazon, and it's normal. It's already normal. I think each second company uses at least web site hosting somewhere, not on their premises, or some services from outside, CRM maybe, Office 365 or something like this. So it's normal to use some services from outside. The same idea followed the security vendors. So what they did, they have a lot of technologies. These technologies are really expensive. They are really hard to be implemented well, fully implemented, and they are hard to be operated. So what they did, they took their best partners and proposed them, why don't you deploy this solution at your premises and provide to your customers? It's like a service. You can charge them as many as you want. It's your problems. You will just pay for our software. You will be the owners of the software, and you will support your customers by yourself. So most of partners said, okay, sure, we'll try this. It's interesting because everything moving to the cloud. And basically the process of managed security service, which is called this way, managed security service, is the idea of provisioning of the service, which consists of composite itself, and it's complete, and consists of 4 major parts. The first one is technology, like I told you. For example, we at ASSP, we use the best technologies in the world according to the Gartner. We deployed it in our security operations center and our data centers, and we provide it to customers. Support, you need to not just use this, you need to maintain, you need administrators, you need IT, basically. In IT security, you need IT guys who will help you to make it work. Then you need management and knowledge, which means that, okay, it works, but it should work properly. So I'm not saying and I'm not claiming that this is the only vision of the future and every company will move to the cloud. No, it's not like this, especially in security. But we need to understand that, well, the principle all or nothing just doesn't work here. You can use some services from outside, some services on premises, and the services which are the core services for the business should stay in your organization, for my opinion. But all the rest is like you don't I don't know, you don't use your own, you're not building your own delivery service. You use TNT or something. Yes, you deliver, you give them your information, your data to be delivered somewhere. So isn't it a breach? You give someone, yeah, you have SLA, you have an agreement which states that nothing bad will happen. If it happens, then the TNT should, you could charge TNT for some money, yeah? So you never lose money, you never lose reputation, for example. You can always find a solution because you're protected financially, you're protected with agreements, you're protected with the professionals. So this is how the MSSP provider works, MSSP service. Company should have huge resources, human resources, which we do. Company should have technologists, actually the MSSP contracts with the vendors. It should have equipment and procedures, which actually glues everything around this. So among our customers, for example, yes, we deployed our SOC this year. In the beginning, we already have several customers, despite that we are on the market for a decade. Not in Georgia, and on Ukrainian, and in Georgia, the fourth year, I guess. Yes, our customers, there are several who gave us an opportunity to protect the most processes we could cover. So if we get back to the slide with stages, we have covered 80% of investigations in automatic mode, 80% of investigations, and 50% of even reaction, even though reaction is something which relies on the shoulders of the IT professional from the company, from the client company. So I have already read of some slides because I guess you're tired, and this is one of the final one. What is managed security service? So you can read from the slide. I will briefly just add the conclusion that, well, it's that value. Why it's that value? Because the solutions are already deployed. I know projects which were going for years, well, at least month. Yes, it's the huge corporate project like SIAM, DLP or something like this. It can't last less than at least 3-4 months or even half a year. The SIAM system is it's a huge project. It's always a long distance run. So we implement 90% of solutions which we provide in 1 month, and after this you get value. The second, return of investments and investments in general. You don't need to have capital investments. You don't need to waste $100,000 for something. You can be charged monthly. If you don't like the service, if you don't see the value of the service, you can, well, say, okay, ISSP or another provider, thank you very much, we are not satisfied. This is something which is not for us. You don't give the value. So, okay, it's up to you. We are the most interested in this negotiation, the most interesting party who would like you to be satisfied with the solution you're taking. Resource optimization, surely you still need CISO, yeah, the Chief Information Security Officer. You still need your IT guys, well, at least while you have your own infrastructure. You need, well, you need some resources inside. But what about the people who need to have a deep understanding of security? Well, I can say in Georgia, for now, we're really lacking here professionals in security. And I see the, yeah, it's the last one. Thank you. In Georgia, the changing of staff is really quick, because I noticed that some professionals which gained some experience, they were bought by another companies, and the company left without a professional who was implementing this system. What can you do with this? So nothing, actually. You don't have any protection from this, yes? You need to maintain it somehow. So I won't proceed with this. It's just the comparison, which I even won't cover with words. You can see it by yourself. It's like using your own car and you use taxi. Sure, you would like to have your own car, but maybe for some services which is very determined, you can use taxi. So this is something about the joint usage. So I hope I did it very quickly. Thank you very much. Let's have conversation there.